Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to spend a few moments on a message of hope that's really meant for fathers, for any man who's ever felt that pressure, that feeling of responsibility just piling up until it feels like too much. We're going to look at a really powerful promise, one that was made for those exact moments when you feel like you're carrying it all completely on your own.
You know that feeling, right? That moment when what's being asked of you just feels so much heavier than what you have inside to give. It's a deep, really personal weight, and man, it can feel incredibly lonely.
And this weight, it's not some fuzzy, abstract idea. Oh no. It comes with some very specific, very real anxieties. And these aren't the kinds of fears that just politely knock on the door of your mind. They're the ones that barge right in, unpack their bags, and make themselves at home in every single quiet moment you have.
There's that relentless pressure to provide. You're looking at the numbers on the page, and they just won't balance. It's that quiet, nagging worry in the back of your head about making ends meet, just making sure your family has everything they need.
And then there's the emotional stuff. The ache in your heart when you see a gap growing between you and your child. You wonder, how do I fix this? How do I bridge a distance that just seems to get wider no matter what I try to do?
And maybe it's the strain in your partnership, that feeling of being totally and utterly depleted. Knowing your marriage needs your energy, it needs your presence, your heart, but you feel like you have absolutely nothing left to offer.
And then sometimes, life just hits you with something out of left field, a sudden crisis that throws your whole world into chaos and fills your home with a kind of fear you've never ever known before.
Now, it's into this exact kind of darkness that God speaks. This isn't some new age message for when times are easy. This was originally spoken to the people of Israel when they were in exile. They were displaced, they were disoriented, and they were probably wondering if God had just completely forgotten about them. And into that place of confusion and fear, God spoke these words. Just let them sink in for a second. This isn't a promise for when everything's going great. It's a promise that meets us right where we are, in the middle of the noise and the fear and all the uncertainty.
Did you catch that? The priority here is so important. Before God even offers a plan, before he details the help that's on the way, he simply announces his presence. He doesn't start with what he's going to do. He starts with who he is and where he is, right there with you.
So this promise, it creates a fundamental choice for us, in how we respond to all those pressures of being a dad. It really lays out two very different paths, the path of anxiety and the path of true godly courage.
We all know this feeling, don't we? It's that tense grip, trying to control every outcome, manage every fear, and solve every single problem just by sheer force of will. It is so exhausting, and it is so lonely.
But the other way, it's not about trying harder. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about letting go. It's that decision to stop striving and instead to lean back and rely on the one whose hand is already holding you up, even when your own legs are shaking.
And here you can just see the difference so clearly. On one side, you've got that self-reliant, exhausting, and deeply isolating path of white-knuckling it through life. And on the other, there's the God-reliant, strengthening, and supported path of just letting yourself be held. One drains every last drop of energy you have, the other is where you find a strength that isn't even your own.
So how does this promise become something we can actually stand on? Well, it's not just a vague, comforting feeling, it's a solid structure. Because packed into that one verse from Isaiah are four distinct, powerful declarations, four pillars you can build your life on, especially when the ground feels like it's shaking beneath your feet.
Four, not just one. This isn't a single thread of hope we're clinging to. It's like a four-stranded rope that will not break. It's a covenant promise.
Let's just walk through them. First, the promise of his nearness. I am with you. That's the foundational truth that you are not in this alone. Then, flowing right from that, is the promise of his relationship. I am your God. This isn't some distant being. It's a personal promise that says you belong to me. And from that relationship comes the promise of his power. I will strengthen you, giving you supernatural help right where your own strength runs out. And finally, the ultimate assurance, the promise of his support. I will uphold you. Just picture it, a righteous, powerful hand that will not let you fall.
Okay, so here's where the rubber meets the road. How do we actually move from that anxious, white-knuckled grip to a place of peace where we really, truly let ourselves be held? Well, it starts with being honest.
I want you to just take a quiet second and ask yourself this. What is it really? Go ahead and name it. Are you still trying to handle it all by yourself, just hoping no one notices how much you're actually struggling?
The first step in letting go is to bring that fear out into the light. So I'd love to end our time by just walking through a simple prayer together, creating a little space to connect and receive the very courage we've been talking about.
If you feel comfortable, just make this your own. Father, I choose today to believe you are with me, that you are my God.
And I ask you, strengthen me where I am weak, and steady me where I am shaking.
And let the courage that comes from just being in your presence, let it overflow into every single corner of my home.
Amen.
So I'll leave you with this one thought. Based on that incredible promise and on that prayer, what is the one fear, the one worry you've been white-knuckling that you will choose to release into His hand today?